I hope I'm presenting the right screen. Can you
Yeah, yeah, it's visible, Sharath.
yeah, you can see just the thing, right? Okay. So hello everyone. My name is Sharat Chandra Aitar. I'm a field engineer at Unity Technologies. I've been working with Unity for a little close to around 2 years right now, but I've been using Unity for almost 13 years right now. I myself am a computer science engineer, and I've done a post graduation in game development. And during my time in engineering, I really had my sights on game engines and how they work, and I was really interested in figuring out a lot to do with it. I came across Unity, which was just released a couple of years prior to when I started using it, and it was really amazing. There was very little documentation, and I had to do a lot of research and development of seeing how many uh, components can come together and how you can build really amazing stuff. So I started my career as a game tester, and I started moving up the ladder as a game developer, and I ran a company of my own in which I had. I was basically building AR, VR, and MR experiences for industrial purposes. And after that, I joined Unity as a field engineer, um, trying to propagate the use of real-time 3D in uh, the industrial space. So I have quite a few slides to make you guys go through today. So without any further ado, I want to show you guys what Unity is about. If I can put it in a nutshell, Unity started off as a game engine. It started off with one specific game that was built, and there were a lot of components that were really nice in that set that basically was quite generalized, so that you can actually build any kind of game out of it. So Unity became quite widely used as a game engine, and currently, right now, what we call ourselves is a real-time 3D development platform, because it's not just used by the gaming sector, but is also used by a lot of people in the industrial sector. It could be automotive. It could be. Could everyone put yourself on mute, because there's a lot of noise coming through? Thank you so much. It's being used by a lot of segments like the automotive industry, the architecture, manufacturing industry. A lot of people are using it because real-time 3D is basically giving them a lot. And what we believe in is, we believe that the world is a better place with more creators in it. This belief is to the core of Unity, and it inspires everything we do also, so that we can bring out amazing developers like the future holds. So just a few leadership stats that are there out there. Almost 60% of all AR VR content is powered by Unity, and almost 90% of the world's most innovative AR VR companies are powered by Unity, and are listed as really fast growing companies as well. And our reach, if you look at it, we have close to around 3 billion devices which are reached with made with Unity experiences in just the last 12 months, and close to around 28 billion installs made with Unity experiences in the last 12 months itself. In fact, if we take the recent pandemic into consideration, I think the numbers might close to be 1.5 to 2 times the numbers that you're seeing on the screen. And our creators are there in we have creators using Unity in close to around 192 countries with close to around 2 million active student learners in the last 12 months. And if you look at a few market leadership stats, almost 45% of the top 1000 mobile games are powered by Unity, and around 50% of all mobile games that are built out there are powered by Unity, and almost 60% of AR/VR content is powered by Unity. And it's, a lot of people have built a lot of stuff like, films, VR shorts that people can experience, and these are experiences that are really touching sometimes, that a person really has a really amazing experience altogether than what they would generally from watching 2D medium. In fact, in 2018, our engineering team actually got an award for working with Disney on one of their episodes of Baymax, and this was really amazing. And this collaboration together re-envisioned how you could actually build TV release quality content out of a game engine. And if you look at our strategic partnerships, we have strategic partnerships with close to around 25 different platforms. And what we believe in is when our creators, when the people who are using it, using Unity, the users of Unity need to get day zero access of any software development tools that they need to have for any upcoming hardware. So we have partnerships way before the hardware is actually launched in the market, so you can actually have a really amazing uh, uh, what can I say, documented approach of actually building stuff on top of the platforms that are recently released as well. And a few technology partners as well. If you look at it, we've partnered with a lot of people like Google, Apple, Foria, Sony, Samsung, Autodesk, Nvidia by itself. And just to get it even more deeper, we have connected partnership with Google Cloud to boost your advertising. We have AdMob and DeepMind for any kind of AI related tasks that you actually need to do or mine. And we also have a very amazing partnership with Facebook for the Oculus subsystems as well, including Microsoft's amazing Xbox HoloLens and Visual Studio integrations as well that we have. So the core tech, if you talk about it, we basically have revamped our whole engine like what it was 10 years ago to what the current generation is. So the core tech by itself starts off with something called the data oriented tech stack. So in 2018, we actually made this move towards moving towards this thing called data-oriented tech stack. I'm very much sure that all of you are aware of object-oriented programming. So this is kind of like data-oriented programming if you're actually having to look at it in a nutshell. And this comes with a couple of components that are there inside it, which is an entity component system that we've built, and all these things to support really fast processing. We have a really amazing burst compiler that has been put into it, and this basically gives you access to doing a lot with like if you have to put out jobs, we have a specific job system also that's written. So the basic idea of having this whole technology stack is to have high performance, to have multi-threading, scalability, and all of it should be optimized just from the time you start writing. And the next thing that we basically have been trying to endorse inside this whole ecosystem that we have is next level of rendering. What it needs to be really beautiful, powerful, flexible, and performant as well. So we have something called the scriptable render pipeline, and this came out because a lot of people used to say, "Hey, Unity is a game engine that a lot of mobile developers use to build their mobile content," but we wanted to prove them wrong. In fact, a lot of people have also released stuff on the PlayStation, on the Xbox with Unity, but these high quality content was actually never used because people thought, hey, you couldn't extend it quite that well. So to extend it and bring out a diverse computational powers that can be sustained, we have this new process that we call a scriptable render pipeline that lets you be the person that can bring out the experience to the most amazing content, or the way that you want it to be. So to show you how amazing these graphics look, I want to run you guys by a small shot that has been developed by a few people in our team. In fact, this is a very small team of 10 12 people that have built this over a span of I think around a month's time, and that was the month's time was also figuring out the whole pipeline and bringing out this whole amazing content. So without any further ado, I will just show you Heretic, which is one of our shorts.
This is the place. Doesn't look like much. Go take a look. Yeah, got it. Okay, here we go. Mm-hmm. So who exactly is this guy? You're kidding. They're a fairy tale buster. Don't be an idiot. Let's see. Open it. Wait. Do it. Can't believe this place is actually real. This makes no sense to me, Buster. But you might happen to be right.
So that was really amazing. A small team could actually do this in a very short span. In fact, if you guys want to check it out, it's called The Heretic, and you should definitely check out the whole movie, including a couple of the other short movies that our demo team has been building to showcase the technology that we have for movie building skills. Talking about the next thing, which is connected games. Obviously, a lot of people want to have their games connected with each other. In fact, with the past couple of years, with games like PUBG, Call of Duty, all these games that are currently out there uh, are uh, are using Unity's backend connected game system to actually connect with multiple players across the globe. And this is a scalable environment that you can basically have. Like if you have 100,000 users, you can scale it only for that, or if you have 100 million users, you can scale it up to that as well. And all of it is cloud enabled, which is really cool and really amazing for you to use and propagate as well. In fact, we also have another technology. So this technology for having connected games is what I was talking about. It's called multiplay, and we have another technology called Vivox that lets you have voice chat within your applications, and this is amazing. So. One of my personal favorite things that I like to do is actually taking these smaller components that are there that are built for the gaming industry and bringing it to the industrial space. So if you look at connected games as such, having multiplayer is really amazing to have multiple clients connect together to a specific model to have reviews done, especially in the times like these, like when we are suffering a pandemic and people have to be working at home. Having connected applications are really really necessary right now. And again, voice communication as well with Vivox systems is really amazing for you to deliver a really agnostic solution to people. Uh, then talking about the next thing, we have something called Project Tiny, which is really really amazing. Now, if you look at it, the Project Tiny again takes real amazing potential from the technology stack that I was talking before, entity component system, and it really builds high performance stuff that you could build out and keep your content really small as well. How small? In fact, the engine core by itself is just close to around 98 KB, and that's quite small. And in fact, that's smaller than most icons that I have on my desktop. And it's amazing because it's actually built so that you can deliver lightweight content without the necessity of downloading an app or doing anything as such. Completely runs on HTML5. In fact, I personally have tested it to be working even on set-top boxes, the ones that we get with Tata Sky and things like that. It actually works on those kind of systems as well. So it's really powerful how this project of us, Project ID. Currently, we have a 2D and 3D support, and in the near future, we'll also be bringing 3D AR support as well directly off your web browser. So just to show you guys a few made with Unity experiences from using it for games as such. There are a lot of people. If anyone on this group actually plays games, you can definitely find a few of good value players over here in this list over here, like EA, Zynga, Kabam, and Glue as well, Space 8 as well, and all of these guys have been building really amazing experiences. To just show you a few of them, I'm sure a lot of you have heard of this game called Pokemon Go. This is an AR based game that people had to go AR and location based game in which you have to actually walk through specific areas and find these Pokemon creatures that are there and capture them. And then we have another game called Beat Saber. Beat Saber is a multi-award-winning VR rhythm game, and this is kind of like a game that we had in the yesteryears called Guitar Hero, in which you actually had a guitar as a controller, and you had to press the buttons as it comes on the screen. But this moved it to the next level with VR, in which you have two lightsabers and you have to smash the colors that come in front of you with a specific lightsaber. And I kid you not, it's an amazing exercise as well. uh, the next one that I want to talk to you guys about is you definitely heard of Angry Birds. So Angry Bird, the creators of Angry Birds, Rovio Studio, they actually build a complete VR experience as well with the Angry Birds characters. And then there's a really amazing 2D game called Donut Country that's really very amazing game. In fact, there are quite a few other games that I have that haven't been mentioned on this slide, but they have been doing quite well. In fact, Call of Duty is a game that has been built on Unity and is doing quite well. In fact, me and my friends as well, we play it almost every other day, and we really have a nice time with it. And so moving on to the next thing which I want to talk to you guys about, which is really crucial as engineers, uh, uh, is how Unity is being used as a real-time 3D platform. And this, as I was telling you, is spanned out to a lot of industries like the automotive industry, the AEC industry, the aerospace industry, and agencies and consultancies that are using Unity to build niche projects for their clients by itself. And it's a really amazing thing. In fact, I don't know, in one of the other slides that are there in this presentation, but Unity, being a Unity developer is a well sought out profession right now. In fact, it keeps shuffling between uh, 5, 6, and 7 number on LinkedIn. So that's the amount of VR developers that is currently required right now, and it's really amazing to be in that space. So to show you guys a few applications that have been built with Unity, also VR is a virtual reality a simulator in which a children's hospital life-saving medical training was done in VR. And then Lexus actually built a really amazing experience with the LC500, and they brought it together with our industrial pipeline that we have for bringing close to around. Uh, uh, we have close to around. We have support to close to around 28 different CAD formats that you can bring from multiple different industrial products into Unity and build amazing AR VR experiences with it. So so to show you guys how Lexus has used that potential, here's a small trailer. Every time I see that video, it gives me the chills. Um, so talking about the another use case from the automotive industry, BMW also wanted to try their hands at one of the latest integrations that NVIDIA has given in their hardware called real-time ray tracing. Now, Unity and NVIDIA, we've collaborated together to actually bring out this amazing experience that could actually showcase the potential of showing how a real car next to a virtual car would stand side by side, and you would barely get to know the difference. So to show you guys the video that I'm showing you, which we call real versus digital.
Invent yourself and then reinvent yourself. Don't swim in the same slough. Invent yourself and then reinvent yourself and stay out of the clutches of mediocrity. Invent yourself and then reinvent yourself. Change your tone and shape so often that they can never categorize you. Reinvigorate yourself and accept what is, but only on the terms that you have invented. Be self-taught and reinvent your life because you must. It is your life, and its history and the present belong only to you.
So it's very difficult to figure out which one is actually the real one and which one is a digital car because of this technology that we have called real-time ray tracing. And there are multiple applications to transform workflows that are there generally. A lot of people are using it for product design, for sales and marketing, for service and training, autonomous simulation, HMIs. So just to have a small look at each one of these, this is Volkswagen showing us their usage that they've had of ergonomics and a lot of simulation that they've done with Unity.
At early stage of love. Um, so it helps, as I said, natural interactions with the vehicle, detect some logic errors in the operation, and also what is very important for us, how much the system distracts the driver. I mean, you got the air flowing from here, flowing to there, is reaching this amount of air, reaching like this part of the car in this velocity. So the next idea was, okay, maybe we also had the data from like interior airflow of the car, so air conditioning and defrost, or
yeah, also some examples of this software, and it's all rendered in real time in VR, so you can just experience it as it's in the video, can just go through it, make it smaller, make it bigger, and
in fact, what they've said is, they save close to around 3 to 5 million per vehicle program using Unity for design review, and this is really amazing because previously the older technology was building clay models and all that has basically been saved. The physical prototyping is not there anymore. CAD to digital to design review directly. Showing how people have been using it in sales and marketing. Cadillac actually built a small virtual showroom showcasing their entire product line. To show you that how they engage with customers with this experience, here's a video for that. The next use case is training and guidance, and you can definitely see how Volkswagen again has taken it to the next level of having active with their team as well.
we need a smart infrastructure that allows us to integrate services from different suppliers. Together with our partners, Interactive HTC, we create the Digital Reality Hub to make VR available to all. Digitization and automation changes the way we work at Volkswagen every day. Virtual reality allows us to bring together our experts from all over the world, simply set up sceneries by drag and drop 3D models into it and approve our processes. We at Volkswagen discuss the different states of development
virtual reality together with process experts, trainers, and developers. Every training center gets the latest version of our software. Yes.
That made us decided to work together on that project.
So in the autonomous vehicle and simulation is the next thing that I want to talk to you about, and to show you how a lot of people are using things like computer vision and having a lot of data-driven knowledge. You can see how you have interactions over here. A lot of videos have been taken in with different kind of lighting conditions, and based on that, a whole digital walkthrough of the whole thing, including to see how pedestrian passes and any kind of a collision detection that actually happens. All this is done through computer vision, which can easily be plugged in directly into Unity for your uses. And to talk about the next use case, which a lot of people are pushing towards, is HMIs, which is human machine interfaces. It's more or less like talking about really amazing dashboards that are built across your cars. In fact, cars right now are smartphones on wheels, and it's going to get to that level with the kind of technology that is being pushed. And this has already been utilized by Byton manufacturer in China that's building out their complete ecosystem using an OS level application that is built out of Unity. And this is really amazing, as it has a lot of interactions with a lot of hardware as well within the car to bring out smooth interfaces. So let me talk to you about another product that we have called Unity Reflect. Unity Reflect is for the AEC space, and it really is amazing. In which I'm sure a few people would have heard of something called BIM, which is Building Information Modeling, and a lot of people want to bring in the content from so there are a lot of softwares like Revit, SketchUp, Rhino, ArchiCAD, Navisworks. All these softwares are basically BIM softwares, and a lot of people want to bring in content from BIM softwares to have them experienced in AR and VR as well. So to aid that, we actually have a novel product for the AEC industry called Unity Reflect, which is really amazing. The necessity of Unity Reflect is really wide spoken about in the AEC industry right now, because people generally don't want to leave their designer tools, and they generally want one-click solution to prepare the BIM data, and to also have a live link with the application. Any changes made, they want to see it, including having multi-user model, so that people can have collaboration as well, and to easily customize their build. If people have their expertise with Unity, you can customize it to create really amazing experiences that can be extensible to any platform. It could be AR, VR, be iOS, PC. It could be a mixed reality. Bringing it to a much larger audience is definitely possible. So to show you guys Unity Reflect, here's a small. Oh, seems like this video is out of place.
Yes. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15 16 17 18 19 20 21 22 23 24 25 26 27 28 29 30 31 32 33 34 35 36 37 38 39 40 41 42 43 44 45 46 47 48 49 50 51 52 53 54 55 56 57 58 59 60 61 62 63 64 65 66 67 68 69 70 71 72 73 74 75 76 77 78 79 80 81 82 83 84 85 86 87 88 89 90 91 92 93 94 95 96 97 98 99 100 101 102 103 104 105 106 107 108 109 110 111 112 113 114 115 116 117 118 119 120 121 122 123 124 125 126 127 128 129 130 131 132 133 134 135 136 137 138 139 140 141 142 143 144 145 146 147 148 149 150 151 152 153 154 155 156 157 158
Hello?
Yeah, yeah, Sharath, you're.
Yeah, yeah. I'm sorry. I think I closed the wrong tab.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just gonna start sharing my screen again. Awesome. So for many use cases, we're sorry about the interruption, by the way. For many use cases, the level of rendering quality that Unity Reflect provides out of the box is more than sufficient. But as I was telling you, we have a skippable render pipeline in which you can actually push it to the next level for creating really photorealistic environments, and maybe have a product configurator as well. You could have your chairs or your floors or your walls with different kinds of colors or materials as well. In real time 3D for automotive design has been really amazing. And as I was telling you, wax models before, what people have been using is what it was before, and this is how it's basically got to right now. In fact, with the architecture, it's the same way. So what you get with real time architecture right now, if you look at it with Unity Reflect, compared to what previously carrying huge bundles of 2D stills of a complete floor plan, and actually referring to it on the spot, which can all be got into a tablet right now. So real-time 3D is deeply transforming a lot of products in the industry, and in multiple areas. As you look at it, in the design phase, in simulation, in production, in marketing, and in services as well. And this basically ties into three different areas, which is the create phase, the build phase, and the monetize phase. And real-time 3D is trying to aid in most of these areas to bring out really amazing products that people can build just by having it installed on their systems. And on our way to the building blocks for bringing it into an amazing system. We have a triangle of multiple products that basically are going to help developers, designers, and people who just want to view the content that the developers and the designers use. And just moving on further, it's really for two different areas that we are basically building customized products and solutions that people can use, and they can build a really amazing products using the solutions that are provided by Unity. And to address each stage of the life cycle is what we want to do with all these products as well. And a few job market stats, if you look at it, as I was mentioning, in the US, this is again 2017. So as I was telling you, it keeps fluctuating up and down. So Unity developer is actually it's a recognized job that has been put on LinkedIn, and people are actually looking for Unity developers. And the XR industry by itself is quite huge. And if you look at it, the it's close to around 6.1 billion in 2016, and by 2021 we are expecting it to be around $215 billion. And it's basically amazing for a lot of people in the space, which is developers, software designers, 3D artists, design architects, hardware engineers, and project managers as well. Unity for education, if you look at it, we have a couple of things that lets you boost up your skills with Unity. In fact, we have learning resources, we have game kits, we have courses, we have certifications and workshops as well. If you look at Unity courses, we have, if you go to unity3d.com/learn/courses, you'll find multiple courses. We also have Learn Premium content, which we've opened up during the pandemic for anyone to use, and that has been a huge input for a lot of people in the community as well. And we have an ever-growing community that a lot of people. So if you basically ask a question on the community, a person, no matter who's sitting where, would answer the questions for you as well, including people from Unity, and to aid you in actually bringing up your skills. We actually have virtual training sessions that we do online and in person as well, and for getting certified as well, we have multiple certifications that people can get done, including educational settings, just being a certified user, and then moving professionally towards either being a programmer or a 3D artist, and then actually having that advanced professionals, which is basically a gameplay programmer or a rigging animation expert or shading NFX, and we also have industrial bundle certifications as well. Thanks guys. I just want to show you guys also the editor quickly. So I'll just stop sharing my screen and I'll just set up my editor. If you guys have any questions, you can throw it at me right now, and yeah, I'm also going to set things right by then.
Hi, Shar.
Hello.
What is the exact difference between AR and VR? Are you distinguishing different libraries in that Unity or kind of?
Yeah. So augmented reality and virtual reality are two separate entities if you look at it by itself. Okay, so we have an XR library. XR encompasses both AR, I mean not both. So there are three things in it: AR, VR, and MR. MR stands for mixed reality. So our XR toolkits are there that can basically span on to all these products. So it's really amazing that how you can actually build stuff with Unity, because we've unified all of it so that you can actually build with one tool instead of having to build multiple tools.
Hello, sir. This is
Hello.
Rohit.
Hi.
Sir. Can we use augmented reality or virtual reality with a digital twin to make a digital twin?
Yes, that's actually something that a lot of people have been chasing in the past couple of years. In fact, I myself have helped close to around 2 separate customers move stuff that they had from their digital area. That was basically, so digital twins, if you look at it right now, until now they've been using only HTML based platforms, and it's kind of it's very plain. It doesn't give you that actual feeling of a digital twin. So with what you can do with Unity, in fact, harnessing the power of real-time 3D is the best thing that you can actually get at hand.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Pleasure.
Sir, for Unity, you have some developed library files, right, sir?
Sorry?
Sorry, in Unity itself, you have already the developers having a library file. Is it possible to include our own customized files in your library, sir?
Yes, pretty much.
Fine, sir. It's in C# only, may possibly in some other language.
Yes, it's in C#.
C# only. Okay, because
Yes.
C# having a lot of limitation with the MFC.
With
Foundation classes.
I'm sorry?
No, Microsoft Foundation classes have a lot of limitation. So
Right.
how it's comfortable with maybe a large level of designing? I don't know, sir. That's why I'm asking.
No, so the thing is that's the whole point of having that that technology stack that I was mentioning, which is the DOTS, the data-oriented tech stack. So that lets you have ample of data that you can actually do. So it's also in a way how I can tell you is you know what heat maps are, right?
Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So heat maps require a lot of raw data, and all this raw data can be just immediately put at hand with the way that we handle it.
Oh, fine, sir. Sir,
Yeah.
one more question for the stream data. I want to do something. I think even this one is work with the stream data. Suppose I want to simulate my street.
You want to simulate your street?
Simulate my street, maybe like a Google Street view like this. In India, I want to apply
So
it. Right?
there are restrictions that the app provider gives you. Okay, like
Fine.
Google had a few restrictions till a couple of years. I think till last year, and last year they've opened bits of the streamable data for use. So again, if you look at any other apps like these food delivery apps and the taxi apps that are there, they actually get minimalistic view that actually comes in, and this was possible with the app, the maps guys actually opening up that those libraries. So those open libraries that are there, you can easily grab inside Unity and utilize. In
Yeah,
fact,
yeah.
you can use that, and so the data that you get in, you can actually mask that data with your 3D content that you have inside the engine, which is going to make it next level.
Fine. Actually, my question, whether we want to set some interface logic with map reducing, sir, because straight away we put all the data to Unity operation, I think it will get hangover, right? At the
I'm
time,
sorry, I didn't get your point. Can you repeat?
actually, sir, we have a plenty of simulative part. Yeah, I'm doing the same for the real time means I will face with I think huge amount of big data.
Okay.
Is it possible to interface with like a map reduce Hadoop like a concept maybe associate with Unity, sir?
Okay, so just that you mentioned that, let me just show you a video that I have of a company in Australia that's using Unity to actually build and stream data exactly the way that you're saying.
Okay.
Uh,
I'm just going through a few of the features and
okay, I hope you guys can see my screen. So
Yeah.
uh, this is uh, this is an application that's actually built out of Unity. And as you were asking, getting in that streaming data, all this is based on a big data by itself.
Yes, sir. Yes.
And apart from getting in the data, they're streaming in real-time data as well of the current lines and things like that. And this again takes into consideration the trees that are nearby, which can create a problem for the lines. So there's a lot of AI that's actually going in the background as well, and it's really amazing because this might be one part you're thinking, yeah, okay, fine, you can actually stream it in, but seamlessly taking LODs in and out, you can actually go through the whole country. They've actually done a huge bit of Australia, and you can actually take it from one area to the other easily, and you can see all the data seamlessly come in and load in with the kind of the way that we have. And this was done back in 2017, so it's going to be much more easier and faster right now.
Fine, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
So, just to show you guys the Unity editor, I just wanted to open it up so that you guys can have a small look at it. So this is the Unity editor by itself. So let me just take this over here. Okay, just take this. Just want to keep only one thing so that we can not just one thing. Let me just also have this. Okay, some image comes under that. Fine. So I'll just take this one for now, so that we can see how we can actually do a couple of things within Unity. In fact, we also have a for people who are programmers, we have the programming version, and for people who are non-programmers, we have visual scripting as well within the editor. So let me just create a new scene right now so that I can show you the how a new scene would look like within Unity. And what we want to do is let's just create a small area over here. Let's uh, let's say you want to create a terrain. So what you would do is go to our hierarchy, click on plus over here. You would find 3D objects. Let's say I want to create a terrain. It creates a huge terrain over here for you to use. And yeah, you basically have a terrain to start off right now that you can actually do a lot with it. So right now the terrain is quite plain over here. What I want to also do is I want to reduce the terrain a little bit. This is it's quite wide if you look at it. So let me just change a few settings on it so that we can have a terrain size of 100 by 100. Yeah, I just want to show you a small area. Maybe if you guys want to start experimenting later, you can actually build larger terrains and build something out of it. So out of the box, what you get with the terrain is you can do a couple of things like you can have a material on top of it. Let's say you want to look at it with that specific material. So let's go into the paint, which basically is there over here, and I want to fill this in with a specific material. So let me just add a material over here. In fact, before we start adding the material, what I also want to do is I want to, terrains are usually they're not flat like this. This is quite flat as a terrain if you look at it. So what I would like to do is I would like to maneuver the terrain so that I can make it go up and down as well. So let me go ahead and start to do that. Right. So just gonna go here to start and paint the area. So I don't want it to be that big. So let's decrease the brush size over here to around 1.4 to around, yeah, that sounds good. So I want this to be a little elevated. Go to this. Oops, there's something wrong with this package that I've installed. Okay, I should get this. Okay, maybe there's something wrong with this version of the terrain tool that I have. So let's you can always simulate a terrain with I mean you can generally work with the terrain with the couple of others. In fact, let me just give it a try again to see maybe if the terrain was not loaded properly. Uh, There seems to be a null reference. Okay, so let me just create a new scene. So maybe the terrain package is so because this is just because I installed a new version of Unity, so it might be a little buggy as such. In fact, it's an alpha version, so it's a lot of preview packages are there within it. So let me just try a smaller example to show you guys what we can do. So I'm gonna instantiate a plane over here, and this plane I'm gonna bring it to 0, 0, 0. So the coordinate system that's there, it basically brings you to the center over here, which is the origin to start off with. And if you see, you have a 3D plane over there visible for you to actually work with. Now, let's say I want to do a couple of things. Like I wanna have a sphere put in. So I'm just gonna add in a sphere over here. I'm gonna add a sphere, and that sphere should come. It's gone over there. So I want to bring this to 0, 0, 0 again. So if you see, you actually have a sphere brought in over here, and we have it in the specific area over here. We've actually snapped it on so that it just moves in specific areas as such. So off the charts, you can see there are a couple of things that are there. Like we have a directional light, and this directional light, when you change it, if you look at it, you actually get these shadows and the lighting also that moves in the specific area that the directional light is facing. And this is really amazing as it gets the actual physical properties for you to work with. So now let's say we want to do something like having a another object within it. So this is again just to show you guys how you can actually build smaller stuff within Unity as well. So what I want to do is I want to have a cube. I'm going to bring this cube also to 0, 0, 0, and this cube I want its scale to be a little smaller. So X and Y, I'm gonna make it 0.3, and on Y as well 0.3. So you see, I get like this. It's kind of like an elongated cube, like a butter. So what I want to do is make the Z slightly longer. So I'm going to make it 1.3, 1. Let's make it 1.5 so that you can actually see how it looks. So we stop that, and then you see that this object is currently now within it. Now it's really cool. So I'm just going to take this and I'm going to place it within it. So what happens is now this cube is actually within the sphere. So if I actually hold the sphere and if I rotate it, you can see that it follows that object as well, which is really cool. Now, what I want to do is I want to show you guys how you can actually program stuff to be done. So I've installed the package that I was mentioning for you to actually build it with flows. So I'm gonna go add a flow machine that basically lets that to be done. And I also want to create a new flow machine for this. I want to call this. Let's create a new folder for this and called flow graphs. And within these flow graphs, what I want to do is I want to I want to name this flow graph rotating sphere. Right. So I'm going to edit this graph so that you can see how this works. So what I want to do is there are multiple events that we have, like during the start, what happens during an update event. So what I want to do is, during this update event, I want to actually have this object rotated. So let's try doing that. So let's say rotate object. So you should find transform game object rotate. I wanted to keep rotating, so I'm going to rotate it on specific axis. So every update it does, it's actually going to make an angle. And this axis that I wanted to rotate, I want to rotate it on the y-axis, and I wanted to rotate like 3 degrees, let's say. So every frame is going to try and rotate this 3 degrees. So let me try and make this 1 degree so that you can actually see how it runs. So I'm just going to save this. Okay, just going to save the screen. So let me just make this smaller so that you can actually see this as well, running side by side. Yeah. Okay. Okay, now when we press play over here, which basically simulates this whole thing, you should see that this thing is rotating 1 degree per second, per frame, basically, which is really cool. And this is done just by adding that simple flow chart over here. And let me just disable this maximize on play so that we can actually see it within the editor itself. So let me press play again so that you can see what's happening. So if you look at the game view, the scene view that we have, this is actually rotating. And if you notice the update over here, it actually shows the flow also where it's going. And it's really amazing to actually do this. And this shows like how you can actually do small stuff with just with absolutely no knowledge of programming as well. But if you want to go deeper and things like that, you can definitely build scripts by yourself, and you can actually have those used. In fact, scripts are like this. You have C# scripts that you can actually build out and you can use with your game objects that are there. You have to add components, so that's what I did over here as well for this. So I added this flow machine component, which basically let me build this flow graph. So like that, with components, you can actually build really complex stuff with Unity. So yeah, that's about it. What I had to share with you guys. I hope you guys. Do you guys have any questions that you have right now?
Yeah, can we use other technology like Node.js or Python to develop this thing?
So we have a way in which you can actually get your Python to run within Unity. In fact, most machine learning algorithms are usually there in Python itself. So we have a Py extension. So you can't code in Python, but you can definitely have Python to integrate with the system that we have.
Okay, thanks.
So for installation purpose, definitely we need a .NET framework.
I'm sorry?
So if you want to install and work on what is it, Unity software, whether we need a .NET framework?
The installer would install all the requirements. It comes bundled with the package.
Oh, fine, sir. Is it any maybe a current version of Unity is needed for any version of a .NET, maybe specifically 4.0 or something?
No, it will make all the changes in your system. You don't need to worry about that.
Okay. Fine.
Yeah.
Sir.
So if it's not there, it would install it because the installer comes with all the bundles that is required for building.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Sir, one more question. Suppose that is you have mentioned it also. Here it is. The audio was not clear at that time. Sir, if we are not using the coding, that is if we are not using the C sharp, how we can model this? Can you explain once more? That is using the flow graph.
Yes, yes, through flow. So the flow. So we have two things: flow machine and in that segment itself, we have two things, which basically lets you to do that. The flow graph and the just 1 minute.
I think visual scripts are bold unit, I think, right?
This is visual scripting. So with the visual scripting itself, you get two things that you can basically do. So the flow machine and the event machine. So basically for events that are there, you can basically use it. So Bolt comes with two things, which is the flow machine and the state machine. Okay. So the state machine lets you be in specific states and have events on it, and you have the flow machine that lets you build your flow. So it's about understanding a specific process and having that process built into the flow system that you have, the flow machine that we have. Sorry.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Sir, apart from industry, for the purpose of education in academic concern, so how I think you have any specific library or specific simulation for that you have already in Unity software, sir? Academic supported.
So are you talking about for installing Unity, or are you talking about for?
No, sir. Actually, we have already virtual labs, which is the support of VR, virtual reality.
Okay.
But if
Okay.
I go with the AR, means is it possible to simulate that kind of laboratory with the AR? Already
Oh
you have
yes, there are a
knowledge.
lot of people. There are a lot of people actually doing that, by the way. So, in fact, they are digitizing labs so that the lab experiments can be done within Unity, and there are multiple ways in which you can simulate a lot of things. Like, uh, you know, you guys know Byju's, right? Byju's is also using Unity for doing a lot of their content for the active immersive learning. So
Oh,
AR VR is definitely something that you can build using the tools that we have.
fine, sir. Fine. Thank you, sir.
No problem.
Sir, one more question. That is it possible to model all things using this visual scripting other than this C sharp? That is, will it provide all the facilities we are providing? We are programming using C sharp.
See, what is happening within this is something called reflection. Okay, reflection takes all your stuff that is there within the engine, and it converts it into node graphs to use. Okay, so basically any operation that you have to do within, there might be few operations that are left out, but you can include them also using the configuration tool that they have. And if you make custom scripts, you can also make them into flow graphs that people can use. So what I believe in is, that working with Unity, you basically need to have three guys. One is the developer, then the designer, and then the artist. Okay, the artist basically builds the 3D models to be given to the designer and the programmer, and the programmer needs to build scripts and aid it to the designer that can use things like flow machines, or even the programmer can use flow machines to basically build stuff out. So what I would say is the flow graph is really amazing for you to use on a top level, but the undermining technology of using scripts by yourself, no one can disagree that that is definitely one of the best technologies that is possible. This is an intermediate between a person who doesn't know how to code and who has an idea of how their how their product needs to be built out. So it's definitely very good for that. And you can obviously, there are a lot of people that have made a, I'm not saying it's not good. There are so many people that have actually built complete games using flow graphs. In fact, it just got we just acquired it. It was a third party asset from on the asset store, and we just acquired it I think a couple of months back. So I'm very keen to see how the industrial users are going to use it right now, to actually build out their content much faster. Because definitely, coding, like if a person needs to wait for their coder to come, it's going to take some time. So if you can do this by yourself, it's really amazing, right?
Yes, sir. Okay. Okay. Thank you, sir.
So actually, very recent days, there is a one more computing scenario is called underwater computing.
Okay.
I think you heard about that word, sir? Underwater computing.
I'm not very familiar with it.
Fine, sir. There is a transmission of waves inside the seawater, and we do
Okay.
some kind of frequency, get the frequency, and we can compute that one. Use that one.
Okay.
Okay. Is it possible? I'm thinking about this simulation we can apply over that field. I'm getting some idea from you. Means definitely I will implement that. That's why I'm asking.
I am not very familiar with this technology. So, see, if there is a necessity to build a digital twin, like where the wave is, like getting pings out of that, yes, you can definitely use that kind of technology with it to build a HUD system for it. But I do not know how this technology works for me to actually tell you that it's full-fledged usable inside that.
Oh, fine, sir. Thank you.
Fabulous. So, thank you guys for having me. It's amazing to actually connect with all of you. I hope it was a good session, and you guys could definitely get a lot of how people are using it worldwide. So, thank you so much for having me. Thanks, Radhika.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Sharath. That was a visual enthrallment what we have seen so far. So I think the session will end today. Tomorrow's Google Meet link will share you as and when the time comes. Thank you. Yeah,
Thank
you can
you.
leave the session.
Bye.
Thank you, Sharath. Thanks for coming.